What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Bread Like a King, Matus Kelvin Kaylee. This is Wrestling with My Thoughts. This is a whole new year, and man, we have a myriad of things to talk about. I'm here with my boy, Frank D. What's up, brother?
What's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Nothing much. We got some brand new wrestling news. We are fresh off of a lot of pay-per-views and some historic announcements going on. So, what do you want to jump into first?
I guess the first topic that we can start on tonight is going to be the controversy that happened over the weekend with one Tessa Blanchard.
Okay.
Tessa Blanchard, pretty much, some things came out about her. She tweeted out something about women supporting each other. When we do that, cool things happen. And then all hell broke loose. You had many different female wrestling talents that started to chime in about some bad experiences they've had with Miss Blanchard over the years.
Yes.
Including one female African-American wrestler who was apparently spit on and called the N-word. What's your take on this whole situation?
I really thought the timing of it was weird. Specifically, the avalanche of shit that came out.
Right.
It was weird. It was weird to see. Like, they just came out of the woodworks. It's like she opened Pandora's box, and then everything bad that could happen did happen for her. And it was weird because it was on the eve, right?
The eve of the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah.
It was on the eve of that.
Right.
like, how do you go into that match with all of that shit happening, And then there could have been some major complications that came from that.
Right.
That could have ruined the whole pay-per-view because that generated a lot of buzz. Her and Sami Callihan actually stepping in the ring together.
Right.
And it was for the Impact title.
Right.
That was a lot of buzz around that event. And it very well could have ruined that whole event.
Well, I think the event is ruined in itself because you have a fucking female challenging for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I just don't understand what they're doing. Mind you, I have not watched TNA Impact Wrestling in fucking years, okay? So I don't know exactly what they're doing down there, but I did see that Tessa Blanchard was challenging Sami Callihan, and I just don't understand the appeal of it. I'm old school. I grew up on, the men fight the men, the women fight the women. This is the reason why we have women's championships for these situations. It sounds like, what's next? We're going to have Brock Lesnar take on Becky Lynch for the WWE, championship? Is that what we're going with? Are we going to have, Bayley challenge The Fiend?
You know that it's not, that shit's not going to happen. But
no, it won't happen over in WWE land.
But the hype machine behind Tessa Blanchard was that she could get in the ring with a man and beat a man in the ring. So they had actually been working that whole angle for a while.
And I get that. But the point I'm going to make is this, okay? Now that Tessa Blanchard is the Impact champion, what do you do when the time comes for her to drop the Impact Championship? Is she just going to continue to run through the male roster at Impact Wrestling? My thing is this, man. We already saw what happened back in '98 when Mark Merrow got powerbombed by fucking Sable, and then Steve Austin didn't want to work with him after that. Okay, these things tend to have long-term effects on people's careers. That's what I'm saying.
It does. You're right.
Do we want to have a situation where this woman is beating all the Impact Wrestling talent, and then these guys are worth nothing? You go to somewhere else and be like, oh, you lost to a female. It's kind of like what, back in the day when Ric Flair lost the match against Mr. Perfect and had to leave, and then Ole Anderson told him, what the hell am I going to do with you now that you lost to fucking Hennig on TV?
If they do this right, which I don't know what angle they're going to work with, but if they do it the right way, there is a way that she can actually drop it while making other talent look well. Mm. If they build that hype machine up, which after this whole weekend just ruined her as far as like going forward in the future, because I don't know how they're gonna book that. I don't know how they're gonna, especially with the controversy surrounding her. I don't know how they're gonna continue forward. Now they could just go back and do like a Kane angle, which you win the title, you drop it the next go around.
Right.
They could do something like that and play it like a fluke,
right?
If the controversy is indeed that deep, but I don't see how they're going to book that going forward. You have to book that very, very delicately to make all parties involved look at least okay.
And my thing is this, let's put the controversy to the side for a minute because, like you mentioned earlier, the timing of this was questionable. On the eve of her having the biggest match of her career, and the biggest match pretty much in Impact Wrestling, and like we would say maybe the last 5 years.
Yeah.
This was a big deal.
This generated a lot. It generated a lot of buzz for Impact Wrestling.
Right. So then Ricochet, who is the ex-boyfriend of Tessa Blanchard,
right,
mentioned before that she's not a good person. And it's kind of like I heard. I've heard people say that when you're in Impact Wrestling, you're not signed to the big one, the WWE,
right,
or you're not working with AEW, or you're not working anywhere else. So you're stuck at Impact Wrestling. It's because nobody else wants to deal with you.
It's like the Chateau d'If.
It's like kind of like back in the day in the music industry. You had the big labels. You had Cash Money Records.
Right.
And then you had G Unit.
Right.
But then you move over and then you have fucking Koch. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that's the
Geffen Records.
Exactly. So that's what we used to call back in the day when people used to leave WWE and they would end up in TNA. We'd be like, oh, they're going to Koch.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to stay relevant. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I think Impact Wrestling has worked hard to try to fix themselves.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing good. Exactly. They put in work and so I'm not going to sit up here and bury the company. I'm just burying the fucking fact that they made a woman the world champion. I don't think that's believable. If that's what they're doing, then what does that say about your Knockouts championship? It doesn't mean shit because she's carrying the world heavyweight championship. So what's the point of having a new Knockouts belt? What's the point of having a Knockouts division if your women are going to fight?
And that's why I said like they really have to book that very, very delicately,
right?
And which. This wasn't like an overnight angle. They spent a long time building her into something formidable.
Well, I know that they've had a match previously, her and Callahan,
right,
which was leading up to this one here,
right?
So
they've invested a lot of time into that angle, into at least generating a lot of buzz for it to be believable,
right?
And which is why last weekend's. Everything that happened with the tweets and the girls coming out and saying what they said, it just made it more unfortunate. Right. And it does make it harder going forward to book that. So I don't, like I said, you have to walk a fine line because that situation, it can ruin a company because there are people like me, I go into it open-minded.
Right.
If you book it right, it can be done.
Right.
And it could also fail if you don't book this right. And then there's people that just don't understand. Like I don't like it.
I'm in the boat. You know what? I'm in the boat of Arn Anderson, and we both don't. we both don't get it. And I'm on. I'm going to have to keep it 1,000 and just go with Anderson because Anderson doesn't get it and I don't get it either. But moving on from the Tessa Blanchard situation, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about AEW.
Okay.
All Elite Wrestling. Back originally when I was doing stuff here on this, YouTube channel, at the time, there wasn't All Elite Wrestling. I remember me and my partner, Steve Urich, interviewed Jeff Jarrett.
Right.
And Jeff Jarrett was trying to launch his Global Force Wrestling. And I asked him, well, what the hell is it? What is Global Force Wrestling? Never came to be. That was supposed to be the next big alternative.
There was some buzz around that, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jeff Jarrett said that there was going to be another wrestling boom. And he said it started with the WWE Network and it was going to be all this. And I never thought that. And then we all know what happened with GWF, our Global Force Wrestling, I should say, GFW.
Right.
We knew what happened with GFW as far as the controversy that happened with Anthem when Anthem took over Impact Wrestling, and then they fucking deleted the videos. They said that all the videos got deleted because they needed service spaces. Just bullshit like that. So fast forward now to the Khans getting involved in the wrestling business, getting in bed with the elite. You know what I'm saying? To form All Elite Wrestling. Some things I like, some things I don't like. You and I watched All In.
Right.
Not All In, no.
All Out.
Double or Nothing.
Yeah, Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. We watched Double or Nothing at your place. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, okay, well, it's okay. Some things I would do differently. But I was giving them a chance because I'm like, listen, they don't have TV. So they're booking on the fly because they don't have TV, but they're telling stories. I said, let's wait and see when the TV show comes on TNT, and let's see what they can do. Fine. We're at the stage now of TNT. There's a lot of shit that I don't particularly like about the show.
Okay. Namely what?
Mainly, I don't like the women's division.
Okay.
I think they have some talented females. They do. I just think they are pushing the wrong shit. So
we can get into that. What else don't you like?
I'm just not a fan really of all the spot. Not letting anything. They're not telling a story.
Right.
I watch these matches.
So you go into it expecting a story,
right?
And you're getting athleticism.
I'm getting the athleticism, yeah, but I'm getting the athleticism if I'm watching gymnastics. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's not telling a story. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to. You know what I mean? It's like okay, I'm watching tonight, Bash at the Beach, right?
Right.
AEW Bash at the Beach, and it was a phenomenal fucking 4-way tag team match.
Oh, to open it?
Yes. Phenomenal.
Definitely.
But it was just like spot fest.
They to that point, they did kind of sneak in a couple storylines in there. Some of them you have to pay attention to.
Oh, I'm digging the whole shit going on between Omega and Hangman Page. Right. Hangman's gonna turn.
You know it.
Heel.
You know it.
It's coming.
Right.
So I'm digging that.
So they do kind of sneak the story in there, and they try to work off of it.
Right.
But to your point, and you're not the only person that said this before. To your point, there is a lot of spots in a lot of matches, and the women's division does need work. I will agree with you there. But they have come further than they were when they first started. They're just starting off way slower than everyone else.
Okay. Do we honestly need the Nightmare Collective?
No.
Okay.
I agree. We do not need that.
I'm looking like we got the Nightmare Collective going, and we got the Dark Order. Which one of these two factions are going to be the one to make, actually going to draw viewers and actually going to probably draw some money? Probably the Dark Order.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I would say what they're doing with the Dark Order, I love it. Because they do like these commercial spots they look like commercial spots, and it's like it's a vignette.
Right.
They do these vignettes and it looks like a commercial.
Right.
Like, hey, join the Dark Order.
Right.
What the Nightmare Collective has going on, I don't know.
It's like when I look at the Nightmare Collective and I look at Awesome Kong, right? Awesome Kong is pretty much doing the exact same gimmick she was doing when she was Karma.
Right.
In WWE.
Right.
That's where I look at that.
Right.
And it's like
it didn't work.
It didn't work then.
Right.
It could have worked, but for whatever reason it didn't work. And
I think more so now because she's older.
Yeah.
And she hasn't been in the ring that much.
Right.
Which she can't really get in the ring that much.
No, unfortunately, she's not the monster she was wrestling fucking Gail Kim in TNA.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That Awesome Kong would have fucked anybody up.
Exactly.
And I don't think the aura's there anymore for her, but it's the whole group is just like they just threw some shit together.
Yeah, I'm just not digging it. I mean, I think Brandy Rose is a very beautiful, attractive woman.
Facts.
But I think she's fucking terrible. You know what I mean? I just she's not unbelievable.
She doesn't come off as
she does. No, I mean, I would rather like her. I would rather see her in that kind of Stephanie McMahon role. You know, if she can pull that off. She shined there. Yeah, she was.
She really shined there.
Yeah, this whole Nightmare Collective thing, it just seems really forced to me.
Right.
You know, and now look on the other side, look at the Dark Order, which I was like, man, who are these fucking scrubs when they first came?
When they first came out, I was like, who the fuck is it?
Right. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. I want to see where it goes. And you know, Dave Meltzer had an idea the other day. You know, there's been talk about some possible departures coming from WWE, and one of the names mentioned was Matt Hardy, and he pitched the idea of Matt Hardy being behind the Dark Order. I think that would be great. You know, and if he was to bring the broken.
That would be
universe.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, and it's
a broken Matt Hardy
in charge of exactly. And now you have that versus the Inner Circle.
Oh yes,
you know what I'm saying? That is fucking money.
That's money.
I don't want the Dark Order to be like fall victim to the Aces and Eights shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though I thought Aces and Eights were cool,
it worked. Yeah. It worked for a while
until they unmasked them.
Right.
Until they unmasked them. That's what killed them.
Yeah, it worked for a long time.
Now, one thing I like about AEW, I'm loving the commentary of Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone being back together again.
The nostalgic feeling of it.
Excalibur is okay.
You know what? They had on one of the shows, I think it was Taz.
Yes.
Was it Taz, Tony,
Taz.
and
no, Taz, Jim, and Excalibur.
Well, give me Taz, Tony, and Jim.
Thank you.
That would be a fucking solid.
Excalibur would be good on AEW Dark.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He's not bad.
He's not really bad. He just ain't ready for prime time.
But, I have a lot of friends that actually like Excalibur. They're like,
he's not bad. It's just like he got some. Listen, man, you're fucking sitting next to Jim Ross.
Yeah.
And Tony Schiavone. And then, and people give Jim Ross a lot of shit. Let me tell you something. Jim Ross is a fucking man.
He's fucking calling it.
Yeah, he's a fucking man. I listen to this dude's podcast when I'm at work. I can listen to Jim Ross for hours.
Oh, yeah.
I listen to Tony's podcast. I listen to Eric's podcast. Just recently got to listen to Arn Anderson's podcast.
He can give you gems.
Yeah.
Jim will give you some. He'll give you some knowledge.
Right. And people stop knocking Jim Ross. Come on now.
No, he's doing a hell of a job.
Right.
He's doing a hell of a job calling it.
Yeah.
And because I do try to put my podcast out to people who don't necessarily watch wrestling.
Yeah.
But the people who don't and end up watching it, actually, they like. This is my first time coming back into wrestling because some of them haven't watched it in forever, and they're like, "This is kind of fucking awesome to see Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone on a show together."
I'm just like, when seeing that very first episode of Dynamite when Tony Schiavone was in the ring with Cody on TNT.
Yeah, when you hear it and you know that it's on TNT,
exactly,
it brings you back to Monday Nitro.
Exactly.
It really does.
Exactly. They did so another thing that I like, I'm really digging Jericho's Inner Circle.
I like the Inner Circle.
Yeah, I like the faction. I like the whole thing they got going on right now with Moxley. They just did the angle tonight I was telling you about with Moxley getting spiked in the eye.
Yeah.
And that, throw back to the Road Warriors turning on Dusty and spiking them. So just a lot of stuff they're doing over there. I wish they would keep a lot of the goofy shit off the show. You know what I mean?
By goofy, elaborate. What I know what you're talking about, but elaborate.
Okay, it's kind of like, dude, listen. A lot of this crazy shit that they like to do, as far as like these dumbass angles that they like to pull, like Michael Nakazawa getting in the back with Pac. I'm
gonna beat up your best friend because everybody knows that he's Kenny Omega's best friend.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to see that shit on the main show. Put it on Dark. You know what I mean? Your top shit should be on. And
to be fair to AEW, they've only really been on TV for about 3 months as as of this podcast.
And they haven't, and they've been on there 3 months. But here's the problem:
they need to start sorting some of this.
They need to start sorting some of this shit out and
right.
keeping some of these people off of the TV. Like, okay, I don't need to see fucking Marco stunt. You know,
you don't like Marco? I love Marco.
It's not believable.
But here's it's not enough.
Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Good. Yeah.
If they want to have Marco's son outside the ring as their, the mascot or something like that, that's fine. Don't have him in a fucking ring with Jericho or Santana Ortiz or somebody. Don't what I mean? Don't have him in the ring with fucking MJF or somebody. Come on now. It's not believable. It's like a fucking child out there getting his ass beat.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair to say.
Yeah.
That's fair to say. But Marco's stunt is actually over. There's a couple people in AEW that are over.
Okay.
They don't need like in any other company, they probably wouldn't be over. And to me, I like that aspect of it. There's some people that are over that would never get over anywhere else. And I kind of think that's refreshing to a point.
Okay, I give that because when it doesn't matter if it's WWE Monday Night Raw. It don't matter if it's Friday Night SmackDown or NXT.
You wouldn't see Marco stunt on fucking Monday Night Raw.
No.
You wouldn't even see Marco stunt on 205 Live. The only place you're probably going to see him is AEW.
Right. And it's like, one of the cats that I was real critical of, but dude won me over. And I think that he's fucking entertaining. Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
I was not digging
Orange Cassidy is fucking saucy.
Yeah, I was not digging him at first. And then, like, last week, for some reason, dude won me over. And then the shit that he did tonight, that tag match, I was like, this dude is crazy.
Have you seen, like, the evolution of Orange Cassidy?
No, I haven't.
Orange Cassidy can fucking wrestle.
Oh,
like,
I bet he can.
For real.
But he don't have to because...
He doesn't have to.
He's over like a motherfucker.
I don't know how the fuck he did that, but he worked himself to make it look like he's not even giving a fuck about wrestling.
Right.
And it's fucking over.
Right.
It's so over. I don't know how he did that. It's funny. It's funny how he did that.
And then it's like, what else is wrong with the show? Honestly, I have a problem with the stage. The look of the stage. Those two damn tunnels remind me too much of TNA Impact back in the day.
Yeah.
If they were to change that and that cage chandelier thing they got going on there, they got rid of that.
That's Cody's thing.
I think it'd be, I think it'd be okay. But those are cosmetic things. Those are
like tonight.
Yeah.
They kind of changed the set.
It's Bash at the Beach.
Yeah, for Bash at the Beach.
It's kind of like WCW kind of thing.
Right. They kind of changed it.
Right.
Which I actually like that whole production look of it. It looked pretty cool. Actually,
I think it was a throwback to Bash at the Beach.
Right.
Another dude I'm digging on the show. One of the things I like on the show, I'm really digging Sammy Guevara.
I like Sammy too.
Yeah,
I like Sammy too.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like about AEW is like they do the screen commercial.
Yes.
I love that.
And his fucking signs.
Yeah, his signs during the commercial. I love that.
Yeah.
And he's getting it over with that. And it's kind of like it's a little nuance into it.
Right.
But it's keeping the interest into the crowd while they're on commercial.
Well, because they know that we can't hear the shit.
Right.
So that's why he has those cue cards.
He has the cue cards, right.
Yeah, so he knows that. So I think that's great. So those are things that don't like and I like about the show. Overall though, I'm digging where they're going. They just gotta cut a lot of the horse shit out of the show. They need to be presenting the best that they have. When you're on any time that you are trying to be an alternative to WWE, you cannot be WWE light. You cannot be WWE version 2.
Right.
That's one of the reasons that where WCW started floundering a little bit.
It's because they started
trying to be WWE version 2.
And a lot of it had to do with the ratings. And let's be honest, you had executives at TNT that influenced that as well.
Speaking of TNT, AEW signed through to 2023.
Yep.
by Warner Media.
That's a big fuck you to AEW haters.
Exactly.
That thought it was going to fail.
Right.
So
TNT is very happy with the ratings. Very happy. I mean, AEW technically has not broken 1 million viewers yet.
I'm kind of interested to see what the ratings would be like after Bash on the Beach.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested.
Well, yeah, remember something. Bash on the Beach is actually it's a 2-week thing. So it's this week
and next week.
Right.
But I really want to see what the ratings look like after tonight.
Right.
Or after the show that was tonight.
Right.
So they've been approaching 1 million views, and they've been holding kind of steady at about 900,000 for the past couple of weeks.
Right.
So I last week kind of ended on a sour note, but tonight the kickoff was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually they're going to get that 1 million.
I think they will.
But I mean, because honestly, you know, what was it? TNA was on like 1.4 million a week or some shit like that, right? So they haven't even reached TNA numbers yet,
right?
And TNA was on.
Well, they stuck it the first show, in which everybody knew.
But I think what a lot of it with AEW too is a lot of it was a lot of hype,
right?
And I think hype. Honestly, I think with a lot of the shit that they've done, they have kind of turned some people away.
Right. I agree with that. I would agree.
And I will always stay firm in my belief that when the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, when these guys were a part of Bullet Club, they were more over. I think it was the Bullet Club that was over, not so much the Elite. Because my thing is,
I would agree with that
where
too.
are all those people at that were, we've been to shows.
Yep.
We went to the New Japan show that happened out in Long Beach. We saw the wrestling fans that were there. Majority of the audience.
Actually, that was one of the last shows they did.
Yeah.
For New Japan.
Exactly. They wrestled God.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so where are all these people at? So that's kind of my belief has always been that they were more, it wasn't so much that they were over, it was the Bullet Club.
Right, that was over.
Which I
now
don't know if the Bullet Club is even a thing anymore. I mean,
I
think it is, but it's not as high as it was.
They are. You know who's leading that shit now?
Yeah, this is Switchblade, right?
Kenta.
Kenta's leading Bullet Club?
Kenta's the leader of Bullet Club.
What happened to Jay White?
He's still there. But Kenta's the first Japanese leader of Bullet Club.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Did not know that.
Yep. Actually, they fucking had a hell of a pay-per-view.
The Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. Wrestle Kingdom was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the best pay-per-views they've ever done.
Right.
Awesome.
So why do you think that...
Night 1 and 2. I think Night 1...
Yeah.
Night 1 was way better than Night 2, but Night 2 was no slouch either. That shit was crazy.
Well, now you fast forward now to Kenta... as you just told me, I didn't even know that. But Kenta now leading the Bullet Club. Why do you think Kenta didn't necessarily work in the NXT format?
Mainly injury.
Right. Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind, and he was injured.
Right. I agree with that. Well, good for him. Speaking of NXT, I have no idea what the hell is going on in NXT because I am not watching NXT. You gotta understand something. When Wednesday night comes and it's like, okay, which show am I going to watch? Am I going to watch the WWE NXT show on USA Network, or am I going to watch AEW? I'm going to watch AEW.
Yeah, I haven't been watching NXT for a minute anymore.
I can't get into it personally. I'm sorry. They got a cool ass song, but I'm not into the Undisputed Era. I'm just not into it. I don't get it.
I like the Undisputed. Yeah. I like them.
Yeah, that's.
I like Adam Cole.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
we can agree to disagree.
I mean, they would have pushed now. One thing I did see the other day. I don't know if you saw this picture now. Finn Balor had a picture, I believe, with Damian Priest, and it could be, and it kind of, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Prince Devitt with Bad Luck Fale. So
that could be interesting,
right? So if they want to do something kind of like the Bullet Club, in
that would be very interesting,
right?
I'd be very interested in that.
And WWE, why are you not hooking Balor up with the OC? Like, that's money. Why are y'all not doing it?
That's so much. I thought they were going to do it. When they did the whole Survivor Series angle, I thought it was coming. I thought that was given.
Right.
Because it was money. And then when AJ Styles and the OC went to NXT,
right.
I was like, please, God. And they didn't do it.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of things. They had the club a while back, and they could have done something with it, and they didn't do it. But we might be seeing Balor Club sooner than later because now he's, I think he's with Damian Priest now. So we could be seeing that
now
very shortly.
Will we be seeing the Bullet Club on AEW?
Okay, that's very interesting because I personally would love to see it. There's some unfinished business there with the Elite and the Firing Squad of the Bullet Club.
Yep.
I don't think they ever got that match. It's kind of like, damn, dude, when I think about it, it's kind of like, we never got that match back in the day between the Wolfpack and NWO Black and White, so
we need it.
We need the Elite versus, the Firing Squad of the Bullet Club. Yep. I would love to see some type of a working relationship between New Japan and AEW because I think AEW needs it. Because WWE has done a superb job of locking down all the fucking talent.
Yep, they need it.
Multi-year, 5-year deals.
Yep, they need it. They need it.
Right.
That would be fucking amazing.
What
Think
about
of the matches you would get?
Oh yeah.
If they started working it. If you saw, I want the American audience to fucking experience Okada. They have to see this guy.
Right.
I want them to see Okada. At least give me Okada versus Omega.
Yeah, I saw him for the first time we went to that show.
Yeah. Dude, he's fucking
amazing.
He's fucking amazing. I didn't know he was as tall as he was either.
Right.
Him and fucking Ibushi, Kota Ibushi.
Right.
They're both tall as shit. Which, by the way, if you have you watched Wrestle Kingdom?
I have not yet.
You fucking have to watch this pay-per-view, dude.
Yeah.
Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada.
Yeah.
Hands down. It was only 4 days into the new year, but that might already be match of the year.
Better than Omega versus Okada?
Fuck yes.
Wow. And most of that's 6 stars.
That shit is fucking bananas.
I'll have to check that out on the
it is bananas.
New Japan World. Speaking of working relationships, so we know that Marty Scurll, the villain himself, has re-signed with Ring of Honor, and he's now the head booker. And Marty Scurll would like to have a working relationship with AEW. The guy, wasn't he part of the Elite?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like the Elite is kind of like running.
They're taking over. Yeah, they're trying to take over the shit. I mean? Yeah.
So, he wants to have a working relationship, and I think, I can see that happening. You can see Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, exactly. Before I can see New Japan.
Well, I think I could too, but with both companies, there's some shit to sort out.
Oh yeah,
there's some shit to sort out because when the Young Bucks left Ring of Honor, there was a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Right.
When Kenny Omega left New Japan, there's a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So there's working relationships. The Young Bucks are on record saying that they would never work with New Japan. They're on record saying that shit. They would never work with New Japan.
I don't know why not.
I don't know. They need to revisit it.
How? I mean, I think that's a bunch of crap because number one, let's look at this. These guys were basically floundering in Ring of Honor. Right. They were floundering as Generation Me down in TNA.
Yep.
They show up and join this established faction, Bullet Club, in the early stages of it, and now they're over.
Yeah.
And you can think that thank New Japan for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say, Bullet Club, or the Young Bucks didn't do the work.
I don't know what the process was with them leaving, but it had to do with them leaving. So,
well, hopefully they can get that together because I would love to see the God and AEW. You know what I mean? I would love to see that myself.
Don't they? Well, do they still have a working relationship, New Japan, with Ring of Honor?
Yes.
They do.
They do.
So there you go.
Right.
There you go.
So we could possibly, how WWE has this When Worlds Collide event coming up, NXT versus NXT UK.
Right.
We could legitimately have When Worlds Collide, New Japan versus Ring of Honor versus AEW. And you can also, if you want to, it might be a little too much, but you can actually add in NWA to that or MLW. To
MLW. Well, they do want to work
on a super show here.
They do want to work in relationship with MLW.
Right.
I know that. Which I don't even know how I forgot that. But Ring of Honor and New Japan are doing a supercard again.
Right.
In Florida. Somewhere in Florida. Lakeland, Florida, I believe.
But New Japan, see, here's the thing. It would be in New Japan's best interest to work with All Elite Wrestling. And it's simply if you have one reason why they should, is because they lost their television spot on Access. They don't have it. St. Clair Broadcasting, I don't think that Ring of Honor has the penetration in the United States that say TNT has with AEW. It would be in behoove of both of them to work with AEW.
The main selling point is we have a mainstream American audience. You need to sell that. We have a mainstream American audience, not just syndicated in some spots.
Right.
This is mainstream.
Right.
We're on mainstream.
Right.
Right? For one of the biggest networks in American television when it comes to pro wrestling. Do you want in or do you not want in?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to be a true alternative to the whip,
if they do that shit,
they need to be work. They need to help each other.
If they do that shit, they will flip the wrestling industry on its head.
Oh, I think they would.
It would be flipped on its head.
And imagine if you, like I said, you take this Bullet Club faction, and you was to put that on American TV with, AEW.
You put that on an American TV network with the TVMA 14 content.
Yes.
And then here's what you do. You take Tama Tonga and you bring him to a backstage promo session and just let him talk.
Right. Because if I'm a fan,
right,
and I look at these dudes over here that's calling themselves the OC,
right,
and I look over here and I see the real Bullet Club,
just let him talk.
Shit,
just let him talk.
Right.
Beep when you need to beep it, but just give that man a mic and let him talk.
And it seems like TNT has been very lenient with the whole language thing. It is what it is. So.
That's what I said. Beep him when you need to.
Right.
Like, he's going to drop an F-bomb. You know that.
Right.
So beep that out. But everything else, just leave it. They let Cody say goddamn on TV.
They sure did. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, you get a little bit more leeway. Of course, they'll never do that in WWE, but...
You will be fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Well... I don't know, because they're kind of pushing the envelope, too.
They're pushing the envelope, but they're not going to push it like AEW.
No, they haven't.
Going to push it. Yeah, man. So, I mean, as long as we can get that working relationship between these companies, because AEW's roster is pretty damn thin. From all the guys that they had signed, they're pretty damn thin at this point. So they need people. They need, to have these relationships. They need the Jay Lethals to come over there.
Right.
And all the New Japan talent that they can get. Let's get some let's get some cats from MLW.
Which is interesting because they've been trying to. So Jericho and Moxley both went to Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
Which I need you to watch Wrestle Kingdom. I can't say this enough.
Right.
I need you to watch this shit. Jericho was announced as the AEW heavyweight champion.
Right, but they would not announce any of the New Japan stuff on AEW television because that was a Tony Khan decision because he didn't want to mention that Moxley is the United States champion.
Which he wanted.
He doesn't want to mention any of that because he feels like it takes away, like he doesn't
from
AEW.
Yeah,
exactly.
But if you just do that, I promise you will bring so much attention to both companies because now you're reaching out to another audience.
Right.
This guy's the New Japan World Champion. New Japan fans, he's on AEW, he's on TNT.
Right.
Oh, let me check this shit out.
Right.
There you go. Now, you got AEW fans like, oh, he's the New Japan champion? What's New Japan? Mm-hmm. Granted, not a lot of AEW fans may not know what...
I think they do.
Yeah. All right, let me check out New Japan. Where do I check it out? Oh, they don't have TV. We got to get these guys on TV.
Right.
Boom. Sold.
And simple fact that back in the day, how WCW had that working relationship with New Japan.
Right.
You know, we had,
right.
NWO Japan.
That's how you found out about a lot of guys like Muda.
Yep. Chono.
Yep.
Kensuke Sasaki.
Yep.
Akira Hokuto.
Liger.
Yep.
You found out about a lot of guys that
Ultimo Dragon.
Yep. Ultimo Dragon was my guy.
Yeah, yeah. I was just watching his match he had with Rey Mysterio at World War III '96 when he was the Super J Crown champion.
Yeah. One of the best matches was Jushin Liger versus Rey Mysterio. I forgot where that fucking match happened at. It may have been just like a regular night. No, it wasn't. It was a pay-per-view.
Right. Forget which one it is. Was it Starrcade?
It may have been Starrcade.
Yeah, I think it was Starrcade '96.
Yeah, it may have been Starrcade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went and revisited a whole bunch of those matches. And I was like, damn, this match was fucking hard hitting.
Dude, one of the best matches I ever saw with Mysterio was versus Eddie Guerrero Halloween.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's to me. That's one of my favorite.
That was the best match on the card.
Yes, they stole the show with that.
Yeah,
match.
that was the best match on the card because you ended the show with Piper Hogan that damn cage. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm like,
that match was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
that match was crazy. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite matches ever.
Right.
Ever. Out of any match ever. That's like one of my favorites. Because I remember watching it, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, when he caught him, like, Rey Mysterio tried to jump off he does this little springboard.
Yeah.
I think he tried to springboard Hurricane Rana, and Eddie Guerrero caught his ass and powerbombed him. And then you just hear Bobby Heenan go, oh!
Right.
Like, you know that shit hurt.
And also, Eddie Guerrero was the first one to have the championship on his shoulder.
Yeah.
With the plates, so he did that way before Reigns did it, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, man, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So, have you watched NWA Power?
I've caught a couple of episodes. I know right now they're building something up with Nick Aldis.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure who he's wrestling. I don't think it's PCO.
No. So the latest in it is he is going to be wrestling. I want to say he's wrestling somebody out of the Rock and Roll Express. One of them.
Oh, wasn't it Ricky Morton?
I think it's Ricky Morton.
Yeah,
I think it is Ricky Morton.
Yeah,
he's wrestling one of them from the Rock and Roll Express.
Right.
Which is fucking insane.
Right. It's fucking insane that they're still going.
They're still wrestling.
Right.
That is fucking insane and still going.
Yeah.
They're still going.
Aren't they the?
They're the NWA tag champs.
That's what I was going to say. Aren't they the NWA tag champs?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy to see, but NWA Power, it's actually not that bad.
No, it's not. It's not that bad. I like the aesthetic of the show.
Yep.
I like the old school feel of it. It reminds me of the old, World Championship Wrestling show back in the day. And I believe it's actually in the same building.
It is. Stage. It actually is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
same
a cool
studio.
throwback. Yeah. Same studio, same kind of ring, and all that. I was a big fan of the WCW style ring.
Yeah.
That's the same one AEW uses.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of that ring. So it's great to see. It's great to see other wrestling out there besides WWE. And speaking of other wrestling, we mentioned earlier about MLW. And have you got a chance to see the Von Erich boys?
I actually saw the Von Erich boys before they got there.
Yeah.
Like, I was on to them before they got there.
Right.
But huge fans of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very huge fans.
Yeah, they're a very good tag team. I would not mind seeing them at AEW as well,
Yep.
We'll see what happens in the weeks and months to come as far as if we can get that working relationship with AEW and Ring of Honor or AEW and New Japan, because they all can help each other. They can all benefit because You go inside the ring with the 800-pound gorilla, which is the WWE, and they're gonna knock your ass out.
Yeah, you gotta play it smart.
Exactly.
Don't play it smart.
Don't think of them as competition. Just be an alternative. Do your own thing, but don't keep having the stupid shit on the show. That's all I bet. Keep the Nightmare Collective shit on AEW Dark.
Yeah, try
like
to
all your dumb shit.
Yeah,
just keep it on
everything
Dark.
you're experimenting with.
Right.
Put that shit on AEW Dark.
Right.
Like they did the AEW Dark, and they had the Memphis Legends.
And the Memphis Legends shit should have been on the show.
It should have been on the show.
They put that Nightmare Collective bullshit and that Luther guy debut, and I'm like,
you could have did that shit on the show.
Exactly. You had the Rock and Roll. You had Lance Russell's son was there.
Yep.
You had Austin Idol was out there. I mean, all these different cats, and but
the crowd's popping.
The crowd's popping big time
of it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But you put the Nightmare Collective on where you could have put this segment, and it's like you promised the Memphis Legends segments. You promised that you were gonna have this on the show. So that's something they can't do. Don't do that bait and switch shit, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like, this ain't gonna work. No, it fucking works.
It works.
It worked. It worked on the AEW Dark. Put that shit on the show.
Exactly. Now for the rest of the AEW Dark, didn't really care for it.
Right. Do all of your experimental shit on there, and I'm pretty sure if you're putting it on YouTube anyway, I'm pretty sure somebody out there is gonna love that.
Well, I mean, so the president of TNT said that they want to take the AEW Dark show and they want to bring it to TNT Network. That's what they want to do. Yeah, they want to do that. But he says he doesn't believe, the AEW should be giving that whole show away on their YouTube channel. He says you can maybe put a clip or something on YouTube.
Wow.
But he says you shouldn't be putting the whole damn Dark episode on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he said you shouldn't be doing it. I tend to agree with him. You don't see WWE putting fucking 205 Live on the whole episode on YouTube or a whole episode of Raw or SmackDown.
I thought it was cool, but I agree with that. I didn't think they were going to actually go that route. I thought they were doing that because they couldn't put that shit on TNT.
Yeah. Well, they want a second show. They said they want to have AEW Dark as that second show, and it's going to be kind of like a docu-series, kind of behind the scenes, kind of that's what they kind of want to do with it, and have still have AEW
and still have a match or two there.
Exactly, because if you remember, here's the thing: if you remember, the problem when WCW back in the day they launched Thunder was it took eyes away from Nitro.
Right.
You know what I mean? It started to water down because dude, you had Nitro, you had Thunder, you had WCW Saturday Night.
Well, in that era, too much wrestling was not really a good thing either.
Right. Because if I remember correctly, at that point, okay, so you had by what was it, July '98, you had 3 hours Nitro going forward.
Right.
Then you had 2 hours of Thunder.
Back then, that was like a curse. That was like you can't really engage them for that long.
Right.
That was one of the knocks on Raw. They just didn't give a fuck.
And it's like now, fucking 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown.
That was like
NXT 205 Live.
Yeah, they didn't really give a shit what fans thought.
Yeah,
like, 3 hours is way too fucking much. And they were like, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. And that was like, okay. Like if you knock Raw down to 2 hours now, you probably cursing everybody.
Well, Bischoff said why they put Raw, Nitro on for 3 hours.
Right.
Basically said that, they felt, hey, listen, we're spending $500,000 a TV episode for 2 hours. Why not do 3?
Right.
So I get it.
Yeah, I get that.
But also they get the extra ad revenue from the third hour.
Right.
But
that's got to be hell for like the writers and everybody because shit can change. And then if one of the knocks on Raw is like you're doing all these segments,
right?
But you kind of have to because there's 3 hours of fucking Raw.
I mean, dude, what do you think the first episode of Thunder was? It was all clips from Nitro.
Right.
You got to fill that time in. You know what I'm saying? And
you
that's
have
the
to fill the time.
AEW's got another thing AEW has to do is they got to spread that talent roster out, man. They got to start bringing some of these other cats on the show to get over. You can't have the Lucha Bros and all these different guys on the show every single week. You got to have some variety, man. Give me something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they kind of did that last night.
I've heard some complaints about that too. It's like it's the same people,
right,
over and over and.
But
over.
nobody was saying that,
right?
When the brand split WWE,
right?
Every fucking week,
right?
It was the same people,
right?
You know
but
I mean?
yeah, and again, new company, talent roster's really not that big, but it's gonna be one of the things that gets focused on, which is why I'm like, you need another, at least a working relationship with New Japan,
right?
With somebody else,
right?
You need a working relationship,
right? I totally agree with you. So,
like, you need to bring in some more stars. Like, just imagine if you brought in somebody like a Will Ospreay.
Oh yeah,
right. Like, you don't even have to use him a lot,
right?
Like, just bring him in. You can make a storyline or whatever you guys want to do. You got tag teams, tag team division, which I do like about AEW.
Oh, it's the best division going.
Yeah, I do like that about AEW. Your tag division, you bring in God, you bring in whoever else you want to bring in. You can bring in the Von Erichs,
right?
And then you can build from there.
Fucking Tom Lawler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
From MLW, he can go right into that heavyweight division. So here's the next question. While we're on the topic of AEW, do you think it's time for AEW to bring in a secondary?
I was just about to say that.
Belt championship.
Yep, I was just about to say that. They need something else to focus on.
Maybe television championship. Because NWA just brought back the classic TV title.
Yep.
So,
which I kind of wonder why they did that, because they're not on a real TV show. But
yeah, it's YouTube.
It makes sense.
They can work it.
Yeah. I was like, why don't you name it the YouTube or Internet Championship? Something? No?
Nah.
But I get it. You're the television champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're getting views. Whatever. It works.
But I would put, AEW should have the TNT or the TV belt.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, make a TV title.
To give the other guy something to fight for.
Right.
Because everybody can't be the world champion.
Yeah. You know that. Not everybody's going to be the world champion.
Exactly.
And I guess if you want to break that down into the ranking structure, I mean, you can make a separate ranking for those.
See, I think the ranking system is stupid.
And then that's where the title, that's where the secondary title will come into play. You have to get rid of the rankings.
Right. I would get rid of the ranking system.
Yep. You have to get rid of the rankings.
Because you can't have a ranking system in professional wrestling when professional wrestling is a work sport. You know ahead of time who the fuck is winning. So the ranking system doesn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just something out there. Just like I would have loved to see when it comes to Hangman Page. I think me and you've talked about this all there. I would have loved to see them do maybe a newer version of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because I believe Conrad Thompson owns the trademark on the Four Horsemen.
Really?
Yeah. That's how, I guess him and Cody Rhodes were up one night just, copyrighting shit. That's how they were able to get Bash at the Beach. That's how they were able to get Bunkhouse Stampede. Yeah. All those other things he trademarked.
That's a smart.
And then WWE came.
It pissed them off.
They came and fucking, they copied, they trademarked, copyrighted all of this shit. They got,
it pissed them
sold out.
Off. Yeah.
World War III, Sin, New Blood Rising, all this bullshit. They know they're never going to use.
They're never going to use it. Matter of fact, when they found out about Bash at the Beach, you know what they did? They're like, "Fuck it, we're doing Starrcade. You're not getting this shit."
Yeah, they already had Starrcade. They've been using Starrcade the last 3 years. The thing is, they never did nothing. Nope. They never trademarked, Bash at the Beach.
Like, we got all this shit, we're not going to use it. Oh, Bash at the Beach.
I was thinking, why the hell didn't Cody get Halloween Havoc?
You know what? He probably tried.
Get Halloween Havoc and fucking, I think another good name too was Super Brawl.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably tried.
Yeah.
If he got Bash at the Beach, he was like, well, this is the only one available, I'm taking it.
Well, because a lot of it was he went after a lot of his dad's creations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
did he get the Rhodes name out of it?
So the thing with the Rhodes name, for what I read, is the U.S. Patent and Copyright Office denied his request for that, but it was simply because it's something minor that I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to work out. It was because Dustin Rhodes. It was too similar to Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
So basically, they're brothers. Hey, this is a situation here. I'm trying to get Pop's name.
Right.
It's kind of like you're blocking it because of your name.
Oh.
So that's pretty much what it is. It's too similar to Dustin Rhodes.
Oh.
That's what the issue is. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to resolve that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. So that's the end of that situation there. But hey, man, I think we're done for tonight. We can go ahead and
wrap this shit up.
Yeah, wrap this shit up. So we hope that you listeners out there have enjoyed listening to us talk wrestling.
Yep.
No scripts here. We just shoot shit.
Shoot off the hip, big boy.
Exactly. And we're going to try to do this again next week. So for the Black Mac, I'm Frank D.